Hello my loves and welcome back. We are officially on day, I think it's 19 of our 90-day challenge. I know I can't believe we're already there, nearly 3 weeks into our journey in quantum jumping timelines together, in shifting from the old paradigm and jumping straight into a new one. So today I wanted to start off by a little energy cleansing ritual essentially, and I've got my selenite in my hand at the ready because I know in a previous video I did mention that I wanted to bring in some work with crystals. Now, to be completely honest and transparent, I used to work with crystals on a personal level about over 10 plus years ago, and it really helped me on my personal journey. However, I'm not someone that I religiously work with crystals ritualistically. It's just not necessarily something that I do, but I do tend to come back to them whenever I feel called. And for this session, I really wanted to use the crystal for the purpose of cleansing any detrimental energies or any energies that are out of alignment from where we are going. And so it's just to transmute any polarized or negative energies surrounding you so you can come back and reclaim your power and come back into your purpose without any resistance or without any tampering of other energies or entities around you. So before we get into today's session, I just want to do a quick ritual. It's not a fancy one, it's just setting the intention with this selenite stick to cleanse your auric field and your energy body and your whole multi-dimensional and multifaceted self and your being, to intentionally transmute and clear and cleanse any energies that are not serving your highest potential, okay? For any energies that are no longer welcome in your sphere of experience that you now ask and invite to let go of, okay? So I'm just going to do this for you real quick, okay? Awesome. Okay, so now that we've done that, we can move on to the rest of this video today. So if you've been following along and you have been here from the start, welcome back. I'm so proud of you. So as you know, we are working on 3 different systems, or 3 different levels, if you like, in our pyramid spiral structure, okay? We've got the masculine and the feminine married into one as balance. And as you know, some of the videos that I have been creating have been more scientifically based around more scientific sort of knowledge, for example. However, in the most recent, I think over 10 videos, I have just intuitively allowed myself to talk through whatever message wants to come out in that moment. And I do have felt really compelled to go this way, because if you know any of my work or my content, especially on my Instagram, I was very, very passionate and still am on some level to get knowledge across. And I have always enjoyed working with knowledge that's backed up by science, because I truly believe that that is the bridge that will help a lot of people currently who feel that they need some sort of evidence to buy into certain concepts and beliefs. Obviously, I know with this collective that I'm tapped into, you are naturally intuitive, you are your own seeker, you are your own guide, you are a naturally born leader, and I am essentially mirroring back to you stuff that you already know on a deep, inherent level. This is something that you know innately within yourself. I am essentially just mirroring back to you and reflecting truths that you already know deeply at your core, okay? So this is why I don't feel the need to do these videos that are very very extensive with scientific knowledge, very sort of, this is the science and this means that. And if you know some of my old work and content, it was very much based along those lines, but I have been called to shift a little bit and allow myself to journey this new experience of self-expression, which I haven't really done before online at all, to be honest, and not really. It's definitely a new place for me, so bear with me as I am starting to gather my words and find my own rhythm with conversating and essentially channeling whatever comes through me. So I hope this helps. I just wanted to throw that out there to begin with, because this is why this style has changed intentionally, because I am also embodying the identity archetype, which is the sovereign leader. And part of that for me is being able to step into my true power, which is to show up as I am and to not feel like I have to overly explain myself. If you get it, you get it, you resonate. If you don't, that's okay, move on, right? Because when I'm not here to appeal to everyone, okay? You're not here to appeal to everyone. We will just resonate with whoever is a resonant match to us, and that's facts. So yeah, I'm not saying that I'm not going to do more videos like I did before, or content, because I do, like I said, I am passionate about that, but I am quite enjoying this new way of expressing myself. And so I hope that helps if I'm explaining a little bit about that. But anyway, moving on. So in the last video you saw me put up, I was in the car with my son, and yeah, it was very in the moment, and I'm absolutely loving just showing up in whatever capacity I can, because it's real, and that is something that I really want to reflect back to you guys, something that's real and tangible. And in the last video we spoke about romanticizing our life and what that would look like, what it takes. And I gave a few examples of even romanticizing the mundane, even the small little things in our life, finding the gratitude and finding the awe in everything. And I truly believe this is something that can unlock so much abundance for us, so much opportunities. And this is kind of based off this idea that we are always resonating at a certain frequency or vibration, and sometimes we can't see, well, all of the time we can never see past what we're resonating at. So if we feel consumed by a problem that has emerged in our life, and it doesn't matter the origin of this problem or how it came to be, right, where it stemmed from, what matters is if we are allowing ourselves to step back from the problem and essentially raise our consciousness. I think it was Albert Einstein saying you can never solve a problem with the same level of consciousness. And this is because it's true. If you want to find a solution to your problem, you have to give yourselves enough space from that problem to be able to have clarity, to be able to see other perspectives, to be able to see different ways to solve this problem or a different route. But if you allow yourself to get completely consumed and stuck in a rut, essentially, you will find yourself exactly that. So that is why when we romanticize even the quote unquote bad experiences in our life, it can open up new doorways for us, ones that we didn't even necessarily see before, and truly we can get completely wowed at what is possible for us. And this is why I genuinely feel so excited, because I truly believe all of us, especially the ones who are tapping into this video, I feel like you know this about yourself already, but we are all on this journey, right, of having this experience of what it truly means to be the authors, the co-authors of our own journey, the directors, the artists, okay? We are all artists. We are all our own paintings coming to life in every moment. Every decision and thought and behavior and feeling is painting a new brushstroke on our canvas, which is our life. And so one of the things that is coming through to me now is, if you go back to that pyramid spiral structure that I have shown in quite a few videos already in this challenge, you have the 3 levels. So we have the identity archetype, which is at the top of the pyramid. We go down to the subconscious reprogramming or subconscious mind, and then we have the nervous system / body in the 3rd level. Now, the way why it's also designed like this is we also want to bring whatever we are manifesting or calling into being in our sphere of experience, in our reality. We are literally taking it from the ether, from the field, from what seems to be the void, right, the nothingness, and we are dropping down in through from our identity archetype, from the field, from the unified field, down through the mind, through all of the different bodies, the emotional body, the spiritual body, the mental body, down into our nervous system, into the physical, into the body, down into the earth, right? And we are anchoring and embodying that energy down into the physical realm. And there's a reason for this, because whatever we want to accomplish in this life, we have to, one of the messages that's coming through is it's so important to get the right amount of balance, because we cannot just alone do wishful thinking or feeling it so much in our heart space, even though these are really crucial and, dare I say, imperative parts of the process and the journey in this alchemical execution of bringing things into fruition. But to be able to bring something into our physical reality, which is what we are currently doing for ourselves in this 90-day challenge, we have to look at what actions we are taking, because it is the actions that we take which are signaling to ourselves, to our higher selves, to source, what we are serious about and what we want in our life. It's about when we focus even more on what it is that we're calling into, rather than focusing our energy on what we don't want or what we don't prefer. We have learned that that only gets us more of what we don't want. So we shift our focus only onto the things that we want to grow and we want to create, and we want to have opportunities in this space, right? But the thing is, like I said, is if we're only working on the mental realm or the emotional realm or even the spiritual realm, yes, they are all great and they are part of this, but we need, the whole reason I drew this chart like this, or this formula, if you like, is because to bring it all down to the into the earth, essentially into the physical world, we have to take action from the physical world. Okay, that's why you can't just sit around and manifest from feeling good. I'm sure it's actually, you can, but if it depends on what you're calling into your life, because yes, you can, but there has to be on some level to participate in this, because it is part of the formula to bring into fruition something into the physical realm. We have to take actions towards that goal or experience. And so if you watch one of my videos before, I asked you a question to ask yourself around, are you deliberately making choices that allow you to open up these valves for you in your life, i.e., have you set up different ways for abundance to flow to you, like rivers, like channels to come towards you? Or are you just expecting miracles to knock at your door, but you are not meeting yourself, meeting the universe, meeting God or source, or whatever you refer to, this higher intelligence, right? Because it's all the same. You're not meeting that intelligence halfway, okay? So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are taking aligned action, inspired action, okay? Not just doing it for the sake of doing it, like feeling inspired or an intuitive nudge and taking action, not overthinking it, not second guessing ourselves, just taking the action. And slowly but surely, it doesn't even have to be slow. Sometimes our results will just pop up for us within seconds, maybe even less, in a fraction of a second. And I know for a lot of us, for sure, that where we have quantum jump timelines before in our life, or where we have manifested something in our life that truly, to anyone else that knew us, it has left them scratching their head like, huh? How on earth did they manage to pull this off? That doesn't even make logical sense. This is because it is defying logic. We are going beyond logic, okay? We are going into the all ever knowing, unfolding present moment. We're tapping into this, the Akashic records. We're tapping into this reservoir, if you like, of knowledge, of intelligence, of codes. I see it as codes. And so where this is going is, I want you to get really specific today around 3 actions that you can take which are in alignment with the identity archetype and the version of you that you are embodying right now. Because a lot of the time we can do the rituals, right? That's what I did right now with the selenite crystal, cleansing the energy. We can do the energetic rituals. We can meditate, which is honestly so important for us, to be able to access those different states of consciousness. But we could be doing breath work, meditation, visualization. We could be going into hypnotic states. We could be doing our visual boards. Yeah, visual boards. We can be doing all of that, but are we making those uncomfortable calls? Are we doing the things in the physical realm? How are we taking actions that are in alignment? Say, okay, what is coming through right now is you are putting up your whole visualization board. You've got the image of the reality that you are calling in, that you are 100% certain this is what's coming to me. There is no doubt in my mind. So that's all good. You've been doing the emotional clearing in your body. Maybe you've been doing some EFT tapping. Maybe you've been doing some shaking. You're stimulating your vagus nerve. You're working on a nervous system to hold more. You're doing all of this, but unless you are taking actions towards essentially making sure that that vision that you are holding and you have plastered all over this board, you are taking aligned actions that is in congruence with this blueprint, if you like, this vision of what you're calling into your life, this codes. I see it as codes. So you need to bridge between who you are now with actions, okay? This is how you're going to bring it into the tangible, okay? So it's letting go of how that thing will come to you, yes, but are you putting in the work? Because it does require some level of action. Action is so important. You cannot skip this step. And a lot of us, myself included in the past, just really felt like, oh, if I feel enough for all of the souls that live on this earth, in this galaxy, in this universe, or if I, meditate enough, or if I do all of this, then surely my reality will just shift and I won't have to do anything. And alas, that stuff really does work, but we are living this human life in this physical world. This is intrinsically part of who we are. We cannot escape this. This is why we're here, to have this experience. And so why would we invalidate how fundamental putting in the physical action is? Because this is part of the formula. And so today I want you to choose 3 things that you could do today or tonight, but don't leave it any longer than that, that is going to move the pin and the needle closer to where you're going and what you're embodying in the moment. Because the interesting thing is sometimes, and I'm not saying this is the case for you, but I'm just saying generically, sometimes an objection to that would be like, oh, well, no, I can't do that because I'm not ready yet. And it's like, okay, well, I'm calling you out. I'm calling you out because that identity archetype that you have set for yourself in this process and who you are embodying now and calling now, they would not hesitate to do those 3 actions. Truthfully, ask yourself that in this moment. Would the person or the identity archetype, the avatar that you're calling in, hesitate to do those 3 actions? No, they wouldn't, because that's inherently, that is the makeup that they're built up into. That is part of that identity. So the longer you put off doing those 3 things, you can do more than that. You can do, if you want, this is just a guidelines, of course, but the longer you put off doing the physical actions to put yourself out there, because a lot of the time it's fear, right? Fear of rejection, fear of failure. A lot of the times fear of success, because on an unconscious level, we can sometimes fear what will come with the success, or losing the success. But those fears that are essentially stopping you from taking actions are exactly what is stopping you from shifting into that person and that identity archetype now in the present moment. Okay, so that really needs to come out. And I have found it really interesting doing these videos, because I'm trying to slow down my speech a little bit, but sometimes it's almost like a crashing waterfall. Words just want to come out of me at a very fast rate. So I need to clock onto that and allow myself to slow down. But yeah, this is the energy I'm tapping into. It's a lot of like, you have that mobilization of energy coming up through the body, because this is creation, this is creativity, this is what we are here to do. We are the artists, and you want to feel that spark that ignites the flame. And that flame is what is going to essentially burn the furnaces of your desires and your soul's desire and your creativity, that is going to allow you to take action and shift into this new paradigm and to adopt and embody this new identity. Because once you start taking actions that are aligned, then you are already becoming more and more of that identity archetype that you're calling in. So you are moving even closer to your goal. And then guess what? Over time, guess what? You probably won't even notice that you have become that very thing that you set the intention for, which is why we're doing 90 days together, because you have allowed yourself to drop into the process. You have allowed yourself to drop into the transformation, and you stop wishing, you stop thinking, you stop trying to bypass this whole journey. Because when we realize the magic and the fun is in the journey, it's in the fuck ups, it's in the, I'm going to try this way, or no, I'm going to try that way, or I might get rejected from this person, but then this person will open their doors, or this opportunity has just come up for me, and that one I didn't even know about. I couldn't even think of conceiving something like that in my wildest dreams, and now all of a sudden here it is, living in my reality. And this is where I want us to be. This is where I want us to be, where we are genuinely shocked at the miracles that are being dropped left, right, and center, right? Left, right, and center, because we have allowed ourselves to fully immerse ourselves in the experience and be so submerged into it, that we almost kind of lose track of space and time. It's like we've kind of dropped into this altered state of consciousness, which we do every day, by the way, before we go to sleep, and before we as we are waking up. We are shifting our brain waves. The states of our brain waves shift into different frequencies and states. You've got the theta state, but yeah, it's this is how I see this challenge: is allow yourself to get so submerged into the physical actions that you stop counting all the things that you're doing. That's something that the older version of you would do. Throw yourself into this and don't look back, and just one day you're going to shock yourself at how much you've become that very identity that you once upon a time only dreamed of. Maybe even for years you wanted to be a certain version of you, and when you actually felt the fear and you did it anyway, and you accepted that the lagging part is just part of the process, and one day this vision and this intention will catch up in my reality, and you have faith and you have trust and you're aligning yourself and your physical self with inspired action and intuitive guidance and purposeful action, right? Because we have the intuitive guidance of the right hemisphere and the very feminine energy, and then we have the purposeful action of the masculine left brain side of us, and it's working in unison together to create this bridge. And one thing I'm gonna wrap this up now because I feel like we have come to a natural end, but one thing I want to finish this with is I introduced the selenite, and like I said, this is something that I was drawn to work with back in the day, around in 2012. I worked a lot with crystals in my own personal time and experience. I really just allowed myself to be intuitively guided. And it was in a very challenging time in my life where I had a lot of things come up for me, and I was almost going through, for some people might refer to it as the dark night of the soul. Ooh. But no, on a serious note, it was definitely a huge initiation for me, and I went through well, essentially it was one experience that triggered a whole multitude and a whole avalanche of different experience, which honestly lasted for years. And it was the catalyst that brought me onto this path, which I can no longer deny now. And so many times I kind of veered off this path, but I have finally managed to claim it for myself, which I feel incredible about. But yeah, so back to what I was saying, I worked with a lot of crystals, and I spent the majority of my time going into crystal shops, learning to work with the different energies. And I was doing other work as well myself, working with different sound therapies, vibrations, frequencies, musics, binaural beats, isochronic tones. I was working with different essentially different therapeutic tools. And this really helped me get back into the present moment, because I was so caught up in a space of in a survival loop, and my body was eliciting that response, this stuck in this survival loop. And working with crystals, actually, which is funny because a lot of people wouldn't recognize that about me, but that's why I am a little bit in the closet about being a crystal nerd, if you like, because I can pretty much, if you show me a crystal, I bet you anything I'd probably be able to tell you its name. And that's how much I used to work and be around crystals. But anyway, one thing I'm going to leave you with is what I used to do for myself is I used to lie down on my bed when I was feeling super anxious and in one of these states where I really had to intentionally calm down my body and my state and come back into a space of homeostasis, so I could repair and grow and come into that replenishment, recalibrate essentially my mind, body, and spirit, because it was very fractured from previous experiences. And I was essentially going through some sort of shift in my life. And what I used to do is I used to lie down on a bed, and maybe I'll show it in another video and I'll do a little demonstration. But I used to, depending on what crystals I had, I used to place a crystal on each chakra of the body. And if you don't know what I mean, another word for it is an energy center. But essentially, it's the different portals in our energy body that is correlated with different themes, or essentially different parts of the body. But essentially they're portals. And I used to place different crystals in different parts of my body, and the intention was to um allow the chakras to be fueled by the crystals, and also to stabilize, and also to help heal my body and my energetic body. And I used to lay it above the chakras higher, and I used to spend hours like this, and I would pair that with listening to certain music, frequency music, 528 hertz, 432 hertz comes to mind. But there are loads of different frequencies. You can play around with it. And I would put headphones on and listen to binaural beats, and I would spend hours and hours and hours breathing, meditating, and actually intentionally feeling the energy of each crystal on each part of my body. And my intention was to ask for healing. So I would work on myself, but I would also ask, I guess, your higher self, your spiritual team, or the universe, again, the higher intelligence that permeates throughout life. Okay, some words might be triggering to you. Not everyone believes in a god. I get that. I would not say I'm religious at all. I definitely love looking through the lens of science, but also I recognize that there is a higher intelligence that permeates all living things, and I always ask to meet that halfway, where I would work on myself with the help of the higher intelligence. And it really, really did help me. So that is something that I feel really called to mention in this video, because it was a huge part of something I went through in my life, and it helped me so much through piecing back myself together after feeling like, again, there was a point in my life where I went down the medical routes. I was, referred to a mental health center. I was really in a bad way, and I didn't think I would ever recover from this, but alas, I did. And that was a huge part of the journey. And for whatever reason, this is something that I went through, and it is my biggest blessing, of course. And I'm so grateful that I get to share it with you guys. Let me know in the comments if you have ever done anything like this, or you've been through something like this, or you've ever worked with crystals, or it's not something that you would really do. Recommend anything else that you feel would help anyone that might be seeking to work in this way. Again, it's not for everyone. Choose to take whatever resonates and leave anything that doesn't. This is what has just helped me. I want to be completely transparent about that. But yes, it helped me I felt like so far removed. I think my root chakra was so not engaged, or there was something that was so out of whack, because on a physical level I was fighting for my life consistently, literally fighting. My body would just be in that survival state. And so I had to find a way to bring my spirit and my mind back into my body. And I did this through working with crystals and the earth. And I coupled that with, I did a lot of different things, working with having a really clean diet. I cleansed my vessel. There were so many different remedies that I used, but that was a huge part of my process. And so, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, guys. Thank you so much for all of your support. If you're new here, welcome, and I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Love you so much. Bye.